Welcome to Life is Now in Session, a podcast about people, purpose, and possibilities. My hope is that in our time together, you'll get the encouragement and endurance that you need for the journey that you're on and the story that you're writing with your life. I have a special guest on the show today. This is my son, Landon. He is 17, going on 21. His maturity, he's an old soul. That's something I've always admired about you.
Something like that. But
he agreed graciously to come on the show, and I'm hoping to invite each one of my children on to the show, not for any other reason, but just to share your thoughts, because I think it's important conversations, and I love our talks that we get to have together. But Dad and I just did a podcast on identity, like who you are and whose you are. See, he knows.
I do that all too often.
And we thought it would be, or Dad did actually, he thought it would be kind of cool if we just interviewed you guys and to say what does that phrase mean? Who you are and whose you are. What is your identity at this age, and what do you feel like is, so let's start with that. When you hear the words, don't forget who you are and whose you are, what does that mean to you?
Well, outside of the meaning that you tell us that it means, right?
Which is what? What do I tell you?
Don't forget, who you are, what your self-identity is, what you proclaim yourself to be as, and who you are and whose you are. Who do you belong to? Where do you come from? Type of deal. So, who I am, doesn't really extend much past being a high schooler at this point. There's not really much that I do outside of being a high school student. I do clubs and stuff like that, but, other than that, there's not much else to it other than being a high schooler.
So when do you feel like someone has an identity that speaks to who they are? At what point do you get to say, if that's how you're defining it, at what point do you get to say, this is who I am? You feel like you've made it where you could say, this is who I am, and it means something.
So, I think that's just kind of a developed thing. Just anyone can find it at whatever age they are. You just kind of, through the natural course of life, everybody has different experiences. I'm going to have different experiences than you will, just as you have different experiences from me. And that kind of lets you figure out who you are and versus who you think you are.
That's a good distinction.
You have an idea of yourself and what you think you are. Everybody wants to, as a kid, be an astronaut or, something crazy as a kid, but then they figure out that that's just not something that they can be. Or
Maybe
they can. And
right?
that's who they are.
Right. It's something they do.
Yes, it's different for everybody. When you figure that out over the natural course of life, no one's going to figure out the same thing at the same time. You may figure it out at similar times, but not directly at the same time. So I think it's different for everybody.
So what would you say if I said there's a difference between what you do and who you are? So who you are is more about who am I, and I don't get to describe myself as a high school student, an astronaut, a teenager. Sure. What if who you are is more than the things you do, which I think you've heard us say before, but what does that mean to you at this particular season of your life? Who is Landon Broadway at this stage in life? I know you'll grow. You're going to evolve.
It's a hard question to answer because I don't proclaim much personal identity outside of being a high schooler. I would consider myself to probably be the most one of the more textbook high schoolers. Besides I stay in most of the time. I don't really go out very often. There's really not, that comes to mind, there's really not much else besides being.
So when I say the difference of what you do, and then who you are as the qualities of who you are.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you know that at this stage of your life?
I mean, the quality, I feel like, so like the qualities of who I am and what I do are like, my qualities are based in what I do. So I feel like they're harder for me to separate. What I do is who I am. I'm going to act out of who I am, not out of like what everyone thinks I should do. If I think I should do it, then I'll do it. But
we know that to be very true. If Landon, if I said the sky is blue, Landon would say it's more like it's white, right?
It's pretty blue right now.
But what I'm asking you is, are you aware of the things that make you uniquely you? Such as, I'm going to throw you a bone here. Like, one thing I love about you, what I think of who you are, is you're a deep thinker. That is, to me, what I see as part of who you are. That's what makes you you, is that you're a deep thinker. Your compassion for other people.
Yeah.
Like, when I talk about identity, those are the things that I'm talking about as the who you are. Is what is it, the qualities and attributes that make you you. Do you see that, or do you feel like most kids your age don't even think on that level and they're still defining themselves by the transactions that they have through life?
I think, speaking to me, before I speak to other people, I think speaking to me, I do have, to an extent, the idea of like who I am. To an extent. I mean, I obviously don't have everything figured out, but I'd say to the extent I have an idea of what I am.
Okay, who is it?
To myself. I mean, it's a tough question to answer. Besides being just a high schooler, I mean, I do what I do, and then after that, I just kind of
describe yourself to me like I did to you. Like I said, that you're a deep thinker. Yeah. Do you think you're a deep thinker?
I mean, when I want to be, when it benefits me, I'll be a deep thinker. Other than that, it's easier to take the road of just cut and dry answer and not get too fancy with it.
I mean, that's age appropriate too.
Sure,
right?
Yeah. I don't do homework for that reason. But
do you see yourself as someone who's compassionate?
Sometimes, yeah. It's hard for me to have compassion to certain people at certain times a day. But I've noticed that it's definitely harder for certain people to exemplify compassion to certain people at certain times under the certain circumstances. I try to, but it's not an easy thing to do.
What would be some other things?
I don't know. I don't want to. I mean, I like to hype myself up a little bit. Sometimes that's to my benefit, and other people find it annoying. But it's kind of fun to watch them get mad at it. It's a little fun.
Tell me, hype yourself up. You have permission to.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, because I want to those are the ways that you make decisions. Though, if you don't know who you are, how do you know how to make decisions that align with that and move you forward in life? There's so much drift with people that don't know who they are. And so one of the legacy things that your dad and I want to ensure is that we've equipped you with the tools to discern that over time, not just and I understand and I recognize that I have 43 years of discovery of who I am. You have 17. So your scope of who you are right now is still in formation. But do you have an idea, so you have some compass that's guiding you, and then we'll get to the you are part.
Yeah, I have some compass of who I am, what I want to do. Does that compass shift every now and again? Yeah, but
what do you know that's absolute about yourself that you're like, this won't ever change because it's something intrinsically that I want to protect in who I am? It's part of what I identify as that's my unique mark I leave on the world. I know it's a
very
deep
question to answer. To me, I mean, it's a.
You can say I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. It shifts too frequently to give a concrete answer on that. Right now that may be one answer, and tomorrow that may be a different answer.
Which is okay.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that...
What are some of the unique things that make you you?
I mean, I've heard far too many people say that they're not colorblind, and I am. So, I mean, if you want to take that answer as an answer, then it's not a fun answer, but it's about...
It is. Do you remember
not.
me saying to you when you were younger that you were born to see the world differently, so don't ever apologize for it?
When I call something purple, that's very different, Mom. That's super different.
I mean, I was like, you're born to see the world differently. It sounded very poetic. But, so if you are still evolving and shaping who you are, how do you make decisions for your life? What set point do you use? So follow me with this analogy. I maintain that if people don't know who they are and they make decisions, then they can drift and get down places they don't really want to be because they made a decision that wasn't in alignment with who they are.
Sure.
So if you don't know who you are, what is the alternative to making decisions? Does it lean more on what you do know, which is, I mean, I'm assuming, do you know whose you are?
Yeah.
What would you quantify that as?
I mean, whose you are is like, you know, where you come from. Where do you ground yourself at the end of the day? Like, where does your like making start from? Like, where did you? Yeah, like what's your grounding at that point? Like, what's your foundation?
So what's yours?
I mean, family's a big foundation. Faith is a big foundation to have.
So for Landon personally, where is Landon's? Who's mom and dad, Grammy, Papa, Nana?
That's kind of what I'm listing right now. Just family as a whole is a big foundation because I mean it shapes me, it shapes Caden and Macklin, it shapes everybody into who they are. Faith is a big foundation. Just I mean for giving you direction in life because I mean if you don't have a goal, you don't have a direction in life. You're just kind of drifting. Do
you think God influences? Do you consider God and your family when you make the decisions? Is that part of your intel or your intake?
Like at the same time?
Yeah, or do you just kind of feed or pull from that as something you lean on, but not necessarily something that you make decisions from?
I'd say it's definitely, it's a mixed bag. I mean, there are some things that it's not really feasible to make a decision off of, but you lean off of it as like as a support for your decision, but you don't make your decisions based off of it. So I'd say it flips back and forth between the two. So based on that, I'll get back to the other question. If you know whose you are and you know who you are, or you're forming who you are still, but you have a clear sense of who you belong to, your root system. When you're making decisions in your life, what are the factors or the evolution of decision making for you when you pick? How do you know that that's going to be in alignment with making you a better version of yourself or growing your future? I don't. That's just kind of how it is. I don't see the future, so I have no idea that that's going to be in alignment in the future. I pick what's based off of alignment currently. That's fair. If you can't live in the future because you don't know what the future is going to be like, and if you live in the past, then you're never going to grow. So trained you so well. I prepped for this. I didn't actually, but you're right. You have to be in the present. You have to be so good in the present to grow, and living in the present remembers the past in a way that doesn't hold you to the past. I told you he was a deep thinker. So I want to be. Your life is on a path, and you're thinking about your future. What do you want to be? And this is not egotistical. This is not you pumping yourself up. This is truly like standing for something and against something else. Like the things that you want to be known for, the way that you want to make decisions. Do you have a sense of those parameters now that are preparing you for the next season? Like when you go, I guess it's okay to say that you're going to consider an Army career in the Army. Yeah. When you go into the Army,
they're going to tell you who you are, right?
Yes.
Like they're going to strip you down to that core.
Sure.
That's the nature of that. One thing I've always told you about, if you go in there, don't forget what?
Yeah, who you are and whose you are.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are you going to make sure that you preserve out of that refinement process of life that you want to be able to irrevocably say at the end of the day, this is what Landon Broadway stands for? Do you know that yet?
I think there's only one way to figure out what that is for certain, and that's just by living. I mean, if you
get busy living or get busy dying.
Exactly. You got to figure out which one you want to do. If you're never going to figure out what your shift is, all your like standpoint on who you want to be and what you want to do and where you're grounded in is always going to shift if you stay in one place. But it'll stay more grounded if you experience things that either test that or solidify that. It's kind of counterintuitive. Staying in one place doesn't tend to shift things, but in that case it does, in my opinion, shift things, because I mean, especially right now, you have a constant feed of, that comes straight from your phone that just shifts. They can shift your belief system, or it can solidify it, change it, do a number of things with it. And if you know how to use that, it can benefit you, but for most people it negatively affects them, because they're so focused on either comparing themselves to other people, or staying in such a tight circle that it doesn't ever challenge their beliefs, which is a good thing, to challenge your beliefs, and they stay in either such a tight circle that they don't ever challenge their beliefs, so they go their entire lives without ever thinking they're wrong. And
that's a scary place to be, huh?
Yeah. I know a fair amount of people that don't ever think that they're wrong, and they're pretty challenging to deal with. But
you have to hold the possibility that you could be wrong.
Sure.
And then that's how meaningful conversations start is, I might be wrong on this. I'm open to someone's opinion, or even just taking that friction out of the whole thing. But you brought up a really good point about the news feed and like social media and how that, do you believe that, would you agree with the idea that whatever you feed yourself, therefore you are, or that helps to contribute to your sense of identity, like that feeds that? Would you agree with that?
To an extent, I would say that it definitely shapes who you can be. It shapes who you are right now, because you're
very malleable right now.
Yeah, exactly. You're malleable, but at the same time, you are in control of you. I mean, it can definitely, it has the ability to change you, and it can change you if you allow it to change you. If you don't allow it to change you, then it doesn't change you. Right,
and then that begs the question, why wouldn't you allow it to change you? That would mean you had to stand for something, right?
Right, but what you stand for can always change, for good or for worse. And so, it's just a question of, do you allow that to affect you? If you know that this, if you believe in one thing and you see something that directly challenges that belief, do you allow that to change how you, do you allow that to change you, or do you deflect it, or do you challenge it with your own beliefs and pick what you believe? Not necessarily changing you and who you are, but being open to that idea, at least.
Sure.
Enough to compare your own ideas against it and see which one is.
And I don't know that you ever really get to discover what your non-negotiables are unless you live life.
Exactly.
Right? And you go and you accumulate life experiences. I would say, though, that there's a healthy level of awareness about things you do and don't want to experience.
Sure, yeah.
Right? That for sure you don't want to experience that. And you would put yourself in an environment that would be somewhat protective of that.
Sure.
But you're going into a field where you're not going to be in control of what you get exposed to all the time.
Right.
So it'll be important for you to have a home base of where you come back to get your sense of value and
Sure.
who you are and what you hold dear.
Sure.
So it's an interesting conversation. What do you think that most kids would say is where they get their identity from?
I'd say mostly they get it from their social circles. I hear a lot of people just, they let their friends manipulate and control their lives far more than they should, which it's amazing to have friends, and you should have friends as, like almost like your second family, where you fall back to them when you want to be with people who are like you and enjoy the same things that you do, because your family's not always going to enjoy the same things that you do.
Sure.
But if you build and curate that environment of similar people, it can be good. Now, if you build that environment with wrong people, or you allow the wrong people to come into that environment, it can blow up right in your face, and it can change you for sure. But I would say the majority of kids nowadays associate more with their friends and their family, and that's sometimes a good thing, sometimes that's a bad thing. It just depends on the person.
So if you felt like you could give a piece of advice to people who are trying to figure out who they are and whose they are, what would you say to your peers, or what are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like that's a pretty good formula for?
I mean, yeah, I'd say it's a pretty good formula. Just live to what you want to live to. I mean, you have your limit. Like you have what you want to. If you have an idea of what you want to become or what you want to do, the experiences that you want to have. If you have an idea of those, then go live to those experiences. Go live your life how you want to, not necessarily how you want to live your life in the sense that you don't have any, like rules or morals or anything like that, but don't let anyone, tell you that you can't, do something. Obviously, there are things you cannot do, but...
It's the duality
or that
of
you
it, right?
shouldn't
It's
do, right.
There's on one side you want to say, be all that you can be, but, within the healthy parameters.
But at the same time, people have different healthy parameters in their mind. Whether you think that those are right or wrong, or whether I think those are right or wrong, is none of my concern. My job is to... I mean, as the Bible tells you to love and care for those, and with open arms, and not hold any judgment against those people, because that's not our job to hold any judgment. So, my job is to just care for the people that I have, and I'm allowed to say that I don't like that decision that you made, but I can't control you from making that decision, and that's where I get the go live your life how you want to live your life.
Oh, that makes sense.
Obviously, you're probably going to do things that I would disagree with, or your mother might disagree with, or any number of people might disagree with, but at the end of the day, I'm not you. You're not me. I can't tell you what to go do. I can't control what you go do.
So I hear you, and I agree with you. There's a delicate balance between, if it's okay for them to be who they are, then it should be okay for you to be who you are, right?
As long as you're grounded in that belief, and you don't let them, you have to build yourself independently from them.
Correct. So what I would say, and you have to answer this totally honestly,
sure,
because there's no right answer.
Mm-hmm.
But do you feel like you are loved at this stage in your life? Do you feel like you are loved, accepted, chosen for who you are or what you do?
I would
and
say,
if you don't understand that question, I am happy to
sure,
ask in a different way. But sometimes we feel like we are only loved for pleasing our parents or doing the right thing, and that when we don't do the right thing, that we're not fully accepted, and that there's that level of performance there. But do you feel like in your lived life so far?
Sure.
How do you sit on that?
I mean, it's a complicated thing, because in one area of my life with my family, I feel loved and chosen regardless of my accomplishments or my shortcomings and whatever. But it is also nice to be praised for those said accomplishments and to be not loved based off of them, but loved,
acknowledged.
Acknowledged by them.
Do you feel like you get that?
I feel like I do. Yes, yeah. I feel like with friends, I think that they, they care for me based off of those, like not based off of those accomplishments, but they, chose me because of those. Like they like, oh hey, this guy does this thing. I'm gonna go talk to him for a little bit, see what he's about, and they stay because of who I am, not because of what I've done.
Yeah, so that's such a good distinction.
In my experience, I mean, that could be completely wrong. Cause
like what you do attracted them because you have things in common, but then they stayed because of your character and who you are.
Yeah.
That's good. So
that's my TED Talk.
That's your TikTok.
My TED Talk.
TED Talk. So do you feel like, I've said this to you before, and I think I might have gotten an eye roll. Huh?
You probably have said it to me.
I got an eye roll or two from it for sure. But we talk a lot about being a man of what?
There's a lot of things you've said be a man of.
Be a man of character over...
That was my second guess.
Over convenience. What does that look like to you at this season of your life?
That's very...
It's pretty self-explanatory. But
yeah, it is self-explanatory, but also complicated in some areas because I'm not fully sure of, who I am yet. I'm a high schooler. Mm-hmm. There's not much, that I can be sure of because I've only lived a decade and some change. There's not really much that world hasn't changed a whole lot in the grand scheme of things in 10 years, 17 years. It has, but it hasn't.
Do you think that that's important then as you're forming to lean on to people that you trust to help shape that? Like your dad and I, for example, right? If we say to you, Landon, that's not who you are. Is that helpful to you or does that feel challenging to you?
I would say, honestly, it probably is helpful, but it also does feel challenging.
Oh, sure, because you want to be like, wait,
you're not me. Who are you coming in here? But at the same time, you did birth me, so you probably know me a lot better than I probably know myself at some times. But, I feel like there is also a layer of, you are not me.
100%.
You don't have the same interests as I do. So... while you're probably right now, I'm not going to let you know that you're right now. Let me live my life and let me make my dumb decision real quick while you...
100%.
You can be right later, but let me have my fun first. That's how it feels, but...
But you understand that, I appreciate the transparency because that's real. I remember feeling like that too. In fact, I think I told my dad one time, he was giving me some relationship advice, and I said, I'm going to do this only so that when you're wrong, you'll have to say you're sorry. Mm-hmm. That's what I said.
I have thought those exact thoughts numerous
And do you know
times.
what, though? What the funny thing was is that he was not wrong. And so I was the one that had to say, I'm sorry. It's fine. I made the choice to follow his directions because I wanted the relationship with my dad. And he was good about it. He laughed and he was like, I will happily say I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Let's just see how this plays out.
You think those thoughts, though, instead of saying it, so you don't have to be wrong or feel like you're being...
But the principle behind it was that I was choosing to honor the relationship with him, and then, misguided as it was, it worked out well for me, but I was open to being... he was like, this just is not going to work out well for you. And I was like, it is going to work out well, but I couldn't see what he could see. Mm-hmm. So there's a level of trust in the wisdom of the people that are around you, like you said before. Mm-hmm. You have to surround yourself with people that are going to speak truth to you and not try to manipulate you or misguide you.
Yeah.
So, any last thoughts? What do you think about all that?
It's a lot to think about, but it's definitely think-aboutable, I guess. I don't know how to... But...
Do you have any mic drops, words of wisdom for people?
Don't listen to your parent. No, I'm kidding. But just kind of like, I mean, live how you like. Live the experiences that you want to that you want to have, but don't build yourself around those experiences. It's okay to have experiences, and it's okay to go live life, because not all of life is bad. But know who you are before you have experiences that you think you want to have. Know who you are first so that you don't do something that's not aligned with you. If you know who you are, then that shouldn't bother you. Mm-hmm.
Well, as someone who's spent a lifetime trying to figure out who I am, right? Mm-hmm. I have accumulated some experiences that were not good. And those experiences definitely told me who I was not.
Sure, and that's how you build who you are.
So, there is, I think, this, refinement. Like, you have to know, I'm not going to go do this, or this is the limit for me. But allowing life to teach you and shape you and contribute to the sum of it. Different seasons will bring out different attributes. But if I could give you one piece of advice.
What?
It would be...
Don't do it. Don't
Don't
do it.
Don't do what? What are you
Go ahead and
say
say it. I'll be right.
No, I'm really curious now.
No, you say it, and if you're right, if I'm right, you'll have to say you're sorry.
What? I don't even know what I'm walking into. What do you think I'm going to say?
You're not walking into anything. I feel like I've heard you've teed it up the same way that I've heard the same advice, but go ahead.
I'm curious. What's the advice?
I'll tell you after you say it.
Promise?
Yes.
You won't change it?
Promise.
Okay. I was going to say, before you leave...
Okay, I haven't heard this one yet.
Before you leave home, one of our gifts that we want to make sure that you know is at least 3 things that make you, that you want to hold on to, that you want to grow and develop and expand, that don't have anything to do with your skill sets. These are things that at the end of the day, when you're bad at something, you're like, but I'm still this. Mm-hmm. I'm still that, because those are the seedlings of what grows and becomes more of those things in your life. Those are things people can never take away from you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No matter what your job is, no matter what your marital status is, no matter your kids, your families, none of that stuff, those things will add value and meaning to your life, but they can be taken away. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
But the qualities that make you, and the fingerprint that you make and the mark you make on the world, those are the things that we want you to carry with you,
Sure.
So now tell me what I was going to say.
I thought you were going to say, remember who you are and whose you are, and I was just going to be like, I did.
I'm telling you what, you're going to be in boot camp, and you're going to be roughing it out, and you're going to hear your mom's voice. Landon, remember who you are and whose you are.
I disagree, but when I'm right, you'll say you're sorry.
Okay. When I have to tap you out, we'll see what you say. Well, thank you for joining me and being open.
Yeah.
You can go tell your brothers it wasn't that bad. And until next time, thank you for joining me. No matter where you are, love your people, live your purpose, and don't stop creating possibilities, because life is now in session and there's a lot to learn.